And history is coming to the Old Dominion. Virginia will elect its first female governor today, but who that will be is the question. To the left, Democrat Abigail Spanberger. She has been running on kitchen table issues like affordability, and during the shutdown, she is appealing to the nearly 150,000 federal workers in the Old Dominion. To the right, Winsome Earle Sears, a staunch conservative who is following President Trump's successful presidential campaigns, hitting on issues such as transgender people and sports. Our Washington correspondent Stephanie Liebergen joins us live from a polling station right across from Washington in Arlington, Virginia, to explain why this race is so important. Hi, Steph.
Hey, Del, good afternoon. Well, this Virginia election and the other elections happening across the country today are the first chance that voters have to go to the polls and make their voices heard since President Trump has been back in the White House. And Virginia is especially notable because we are typically a purple state. We can swing Democrat, we can swing Republican. We currently have a Republican governor, Republican lieutenant governor, that is Winsome Earle Sears, the GOP candidate. But because of the state rules in Virginia, the incumbent, whoever's the sitting governor, is not allowed to run for re-election. They can only run for one term at a time. So every election cycle for governors here, we've got fresh new candidates. You don't have an incumbent running for direct re-election. But a lot of the voters I've been talking to out here in Arlington specifically seem to be party line voters. They either are supporting conservatives because that matches up with their morals and their values, and they're voting Republican, or they're voting Democrat because that's what they believe in, or they are wanting to push back against the Trump administration, but voting really on party lines. We have a few key issues that we know are important across the state of Virginia. Education has been one that has been a big part of this campaign between Spanberger and Earle Sears. Abortion rights also been the topic of a number of TV ads, but really the economy, something that we have seen in election after election, is a very important issue for voters, and that rings true here in Virginia as well, but especially because of this federal government shutdown. Virginia is in a unique position to feel the impact of that with so many government workers, especially here in the Northern Virginia area. And election experts say that that government shutdown is having a unique impact on this governor's race.
Virginia is also uniquely situated to be affected by federal issues because even before the government shutdown, workers being laid off, federal workers being their jobs cut by DOGE and different things. And so really the ongoing federal shutdown has brought those issues even more into focus. And I think that was already hurting Earle Sears.
And I've talked to a couple furloughed government workers who were out here to vote today, some for the Department of Labor, others for the EPA, and they were, really expressing some frustration with the extent of this shutdown, how long it's gone on, expressing frustration with the Trump administration and communication about what exactly was happening at their agencies amid the shutdown. So that certainly is some frustration that voters are bringing to the polls today. We know from Virginia statewide election officials about 1.4 million Virginians voted early, a vast majority of them voting early in person. We have a very long in-person early voting opportunity here in Virginia, but of course millions of people going to the polls across the state today. This is going to be, this governor's race, going to be one of the marquee races that folks are looking at and how the margins are. Spanberger has been leading in the polls, but how much if she does win? What is her final lead? Do the lieutenant governor and attorney general candidates for the Democratic side, do they have smaller margins? So a lot of what some election experts are going to be looking at in Virginia is exactly how far, what are the margins for once all of the votes finally come in. But of course, we'll start to get some of those poll results when polls close after 7 o'clock Eastern time. At least that's closing time here in Virginia, though.
Scripps News Washington correspondent Stephanie Liebergen live for us in Arlington, Virginia. Stephanie, as always, we thank you very much.